Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Hey everyone, we're back with another Vodafone pre-match here on the ESL Pro League North America Season 8. It's day 2 for us here. And we've just watched Renegades get the 2-0 over Complexity. Interestingly enough, we are going to be watching Complexity in this next matchup as well. And they are going to need to play it faster, Kevin, because what we saw in that last match from them was not enough to defeat Renegades. And I suspect if we see something similar, it's possibly not going to be enough to get rid of NRG as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say the reactions might need to be faster to some of the players. Some of the plays themselves, in terms of the executes, might need to slow down. I know it goes contrary to the play faster message, but sometimes in terms of executing onto the site, faster is not always better.
No, not necessarily. But yeah, look, I mean, for Complexity, obviously, suffering that defeat, it's not ideal. You can say the same thing, though, for NRG. They've come through from a 0-2 loss against Ghost as well. So both teams winless so far today, and winless so far in the ESL Pro League. But this is how the lineups are going to line up. No real changes there. Nothing to note particularly. NRG coming through with the exact same roster that they did last season. For Complexity, Stanislaw the only change from here. Now NRG did finish off in second place at last season. Obviously not at the season finals I'm talking about, but I'm talking about the North American season where they were the second place team. After the league play, Complexity were 10th. So there is a bit of a disparity there, but you have to be looking at NRG here as the favoured team. That said, though, you know, obviously the loss to Ghost, maybe there's some other factors there.
NRG against Ghost, it was Kusta dropped, I think, a 1.34 rating in the first one, then dropped to 1.44. So it wasn't as if it was, oh, it was close because NRG were underperforming and whatnot. There was a player on Ghost, or two players on Ghost, that were just going huge mode. And for NRG, they had one or two players doing well, but not a third one. Sometimes that's the difference at the end of the day.
Maybe, but we're going to be keeping an eye on a lot of the newer players coming through into this season as well of the ESL Pro League. Obviously, we've seen those guys before, but there are some of these newer players coming through the Mountain Dew League, so that could be you. Probably won't be me. I'm not very good, and also I live in Australia, so my chances of getting to NA Pro League are quite few and far between. A few players have done it, but they're also a lot more skilled than I am. Anyway, Kevin, do you get the sense that any of those Complexity players are going to have the ability to step up, similar to Kusta here against NRG? Because I didn't really get that sense from them. Obviously, on Dust 2, Ye did pretty well. Android did okay, but it was kind of a flash in the pan.
The only consistent performer that I've seen so far, and the key word here is consistency, has just been Android. But unfortunately, he's been consistently good. Not consistently outstanding, dominating the server, etc., which is, in my mind, the problem. The Complexity haven't had someone dominating the server just yet, taking the game like Ye did in Dust 2. Even at the end, Ye fell off. Where is a person who can do it from round 0 to round 30, assuming that it's in regulation time, if it's going to be another tight match? They need someone who can bring that performance the entire time.
They're going to have to find someone to do that pretty quickly here because, Kevin, all these teams are on their road to Odense, which is on the way to the finals. Odense going to be hosting the Season 8 finals once again. I believe it was the location for Season 6. Last season was in Dallas, but we're back once again in Odense. So that's where all the teams want to go, December 7th to 9th. Lots of opportunities to go through there from the North American region, but you don't want to be starting off 0-4 down in your first week of ESL Pro League if you want to go to those finals. Obviously, it's recoverable, but for both NRG and Complexity, it's obviously not the start that they would have been looking for.
It's not the killer blow, but it's definitely not the ideal situation because you don't want to be caught up towards the end of the season going, oh, this map victory is really important and not securing it. I think a couple of seasons back, I think it was Renegades versus Ghost Gaming. It might have been 2 seasons ago. First time Renegades could actually qualify for Pro League, and what happens is that they go 0-2 against the then Ghost Gaming, who I think ended at the last position of the ESL Pro League. They went 0-2, 16, like 14-16, 14-16, and it just so happens they needed exactly one map victory to actually make their way to Odense. So that's what I'm saying, that 0-4, look, we're not ringing death tolls and going, all right, take this team out to the, we're going to have to take the old yellow out.
Your dad. Ding, ding. No, none of that.
Not just yet, but it could mean something later down the season. You do want every single victory you can get this moment, which is why we're saying, yeah, sure, Renegades, a 4-0 start, it's a positive start. We don't know how well they're going to go overall. But if you're looking to make your way in the finals, it's important.
Most definitely. And what's also important, Kevin, not only our opinions, but the Betway odds. We have to keep an eye on those. 1.6 for NRG, 2.1 for Complexity. I think that's fairly reasonable. Again, I'm expecting NRG should probably come away with the win here. I would say even 2-0 tentatively. I'm always tentative to give a 2-0 prediction because it feels like I'm leaning so heavily on the side of one team, and then it ends up being a 2-0 for Complexity. I'm like, what on earth has happened here? But anyway, we're on to our first map here, and now we can actually talk a little bit about the maps. I do think that lends a little bit more credence to the 2-0 that we would say for NRG should be the case. Fairly recently, NRG did get a 16-4 victory over Complexity on this map in particular. The second map for today will be Cache, which is Complexity's choice. Also recently did go the way of NRG in the Americas Minor. So not great history between these two teams if you are a Complexity fan. Certainly is good for NRG, and we'll see how they go here on the T side of Nuke.
In my mind, this should be an NRG victory. We should have some more clinched off games, and I think NRG are going to come in. They're pretty warmed up at this stage, and they're going to be looking to drive this in. A lot of damage already done, contesting over the Vents position, but there's enough firepower on the side of NRG to overwhelm the defenders.
By the way, now that we've got Nuke, there's also something that we need to talk about. Apparently, the map has been changed as of like an hour ago. If you see the CT player models there, they're like FBI guys. Don't know if you saw that, Kevin. I don't know if everyone watching saw that, but there was an update released very, very shortly ago, and it's been a change to Nuke. Apparently there's something different with Radio Room. I haven't had a chance to check it out, obviously, because we've been on broadcast the whole time, but hopefully we're going to see some players head toward Radio Room soon, and we'll get to see what's going on there. And of course we get to have a look at these new CT player models, which are quite interesting.
I think I did see the new player models. Definitely more, I think, environmentally appropriate that you have
Burly
the FBI responding as opposed to some British dudes. But
weren't they German on Nuke? There was some German guys.
It's either German or British. Like initially, the position where Nuke was in Source, it made sense. But with a new Nuke, it is set in America, so it makes sense to have the FBI to go in. Theoretically.
Anyway, I guess it's a small minor thing. NRG are going to get the pistol while we've been yabbering on about the new map. That's good news for NRG. Always very, very nice to get the T-side pistol on Nuke, given how difficult some of the T rounds are to come by. Let's have a look at these CT player models now. They do stand out quite a bit, don't they?
I think it's good because on Nuke, I think some of the other models, they kind of blended in with the environment too much. And
yeah, and the shadows and stuff.
Actually, one thing interesting in terms of Nuke, right? So apparently the corridor leading to Ramp Room from Trophy Room is a little bit larger.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
The doors connected to the Trophy Room apparently have been moved. There's a teaser moving out onto the A-bomb side as well.
I mean, it is just an anti-eco, so not necessarily too much important going on here. Hey, that's new, isn't it? Usually used to be able to see through those silos.
No, that's been there for a while now.
Has it?
That's been covered for quite a while now, Jordan.
Am I going crazy?
At the A site where there's a... Yeah, that's been covered off for a couple of patches at the very least, as far as I know.
It has actually been a while since I've cast any game on Nuke. Now I'm sort of just seeing new things everywhere. It's like, you know, I've tricked my brain into seeing something that's not there, or that is there.
Oh dear. The classic.
Round's going to go the way of NRG, but Complexity have done pretty well in losing only the one player. On the defuse, someone's on the defuse. Is he going to get this in time? Oh, not quite. It was worth a try.
Ethan's on the case. They actually had the kit for that. Shazam had the kit, so it wasn't as if it was a foolish 10-second defuse. Fuggle is on cleanup duty, on janitorial duty, so it was a nice attempt from Complexity to make something out of no situation. Alas, it's not to be. So NRG continuing on the winning gravy train, whereas Complexity going to be trying to save up for that gravy train. Nade stack it out as well, but that's not going to work.
No, it is most certainly not. And actually, it kind of does. They ended up throwing a couple of the grenades into Squeaky, but in the end, not enough damage to really trouble NRG too much. Of course, a lot of them do get low, so some chances here, especially if Breezy's going to hit headshots like that. But the round will most certainly be going the way of NRG at this point.
Just chiming in with a few kills. Always going to be beneficial for the CT side economy, especially after investing in a few. I mean, you can get maybe an extra kit, a few flashbangs, force the Ts to reinvest. It's always better to do something than nothing. So, M4's coming out. We also have the AWP in the hands of Shazam. Good utility set for the CTs as well. The Daps is going to keep the MAC-10. AWP's going to come out in the hands of Cirque.
Better start for Complexity in this round. Shazam opens up, Cirque goes down. And Shazam was the consistent performer for Complexity in their last match against Renegades. So, be looking to him to keep having that impact against NRG. Breezy, however, will find Stanislaw, and any damage that Breezy can do right now is going to be critical. Does not have the bomb, so he's not going to have the option to plant that in the B site. But now he's kind of escaped. He can slink away and have another crack, and this is not necessarily a dead round just yet. Unlikely that he'll be able to win it, but with the money so low for Complexity, Breezy really can have an impact on the later rounds.
I think Shazam knows what's going on, so should be Shazam cleaning up. Oh, okay, that's big, because that's actually the AWP not really in their hands right now of any of the CT sides. We still do have Android as well as Yay, but they're isolated from each other. Breezy doesn't have the package, though.
This would be a pretty incredible clutch if he managed to make it work. 7 HP for Breezy, keeping NRG alive in this round. Android outside of his vision for the moment, but like you said, these CTs are isolated. Breezy might get the timing. Not quite. Android does check the line.
They get the AWP back as well, which is pretty critical.
Ooh, well, a little bit of excitement early on here on a nuke. 3-1. NRG with the pistol. They'll rebuy here. Hugely important gun round now for Complexity. Lose this and they're reset again. NRG goes up to 5 on the T side already of nuke.
Also seems to be as if Complexity did manage to read into a little bit of what NRG do on the first buy rounds of nuke, because we did see that Shazam was just trained on that angle for a bit longer than we normally expect an AWPer to be lined up for, as a matter of fact. So,
yeah, well, they have played each other on this map before, so there could be something to note from that.
I was going to say, there's definitely some demo reviews at least have been done, so Shazam was able to get the upper hand in that duel. As I was saying, you don't normally sit in that angle for a very extended period of time for Shazam, but...
Yeah. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go that way every time. Cirque, we know, is a pretty strong AWPer. Had a look at him most at IEM Sydney, where NRG played their first real important LAN together. I think it might have actually been their first LAN together. And they performed admirably there, but have been getting better and better since then. In NA Pro League, they are a force to be reckoned with. Breezy opening up again. Looking good. Stanislaw almost with 2, but the MP5 just not enough of a fire rate there to really be too much of a problem for Daps. But look at how low some of these NRG players are. Complexity still not in a terrible position right now.
Android's dropping his Incinerator Grenade just at the right time as well. Can absolutely spray down and mow them all down as he's found the high HP member, but he's going to go down by Breezy wrapping around on the bomb site. 2-on-2 now. 22 HP between the T-side members. Still looking to get this plant down for Annex, or for Mini, depending which sector of the world you're coming from.
Def's in a good spot here, though. And with such low HP on these players, all he needs to do really is just tickle them. Cirque with the AWP, can't land any shots, and they would so desperately love for him to actually hit one. Bomb is a fairly open plant, though, so NRG can bide their time for the moment. Shazam does go down to Cirque. Def now tasked with the 1v2 clutch, and he's in 2 minds. Does he get on the bomb? Does he take the fight? It's so tough. He'll take down Cirque, but Daps can't get the trade. Still, is there enough time? Yes, there is. As the defuse kit does get picked up. Just in time, Def wins that aim duel. And NRG will be kicking themselves. They could have thought, maybe if we just stand a little bit further back, if we don't take those aim battles.
Oh, man, that was just down to Cirque, I think, just missing the shot and maybe just overstepping. Being a bit overzealous, was pretty confident they could hit the shot. Most times I'd give Cirque the opportunity to do so, but it was just too low, and Daps just needs to put a single bullet into both of them. Does so. And NRG They're still forcing up into this. 2 AKs and a Galil to work with, but for Complexity...
They know that Complexity's money is so low because they get it back down to just the one remaining player in that round, so if they win this round, it's still going to reap its rewards later on down the track, but quite difficult now, especially given where that bomb has dropped. Shazam stepping up with the AWP to get one frag. And it's looking a little bit more solid for Complexity there. 4 guns through. NRG, you could understand why they bought there, but it didn't seem like they had too much of a plan aside from go quickly on outer. And they haven't really caused any problems for Complexity in that one. Now Complexity can start to build that CT economy, and now they can start to build this first half.
NRG, though, have invested in pistols once again, so it's not as if it's a done deal and we can just automatically write them off, especially with this fast ramps rush. Yeah, he's going to either be putting up a good fight. He needs to be putting up a solid fight at the moment, but he's not allowed the opportunity to do so. So Rifle's going to be granted over in the hands of Breezy. Always a danger to be in as they look to get the bomb planted.
So finding another one onto Def. It's not overly problematic just yet for Complexity, but it starts to get worse and worse as you drop more and more players. Shazam now the one to fall prey. Ethan's got himself an AWP. Breezy's got an M4. And Complexity, when it was starting to look good for them on the CT side, things start to fall by the wayside a little bit. The 2 pistol players do go down, Cirque and Fugly. Smoke now on the bomb, but Breezy gets Android, and Stanislaw doesn't really have time to work with here. Has to take that aim duel. Ethan will get the shot 3rd time lucky, but that's a huge round for NRG to win. Resets the loser's bonus for themselves, of course, and gets them some little bit of extra cash. The AWP coming through there as well. Complexity, their money is not in a good spot either. So now things become a little bit more troublesome. Back to square one for that CT side.
I do have enough money to get that AWP once again, though, and they can actually fight it out on the back of the 2 assault rifles and the submachine gun. So it's not as if we can write this one off just like we can write off a USP round most of the time. But NRG, I'd say that they probably wouldn't go out unless we have a much more dedicated smoke plan this time around. The Stanislaw just cops one in the leg.
That'll do it. Not an enjoyable feeling, I'm sure. Ugly into the vent. And now down to the B-bomb site. So NRG slowly taking control of the map. Ethan will take an aim duel with Def, and the CZ comes out ahead. This is risky now for Daps if he continues to play on this angle, because there's the AWP watching, trying to help out Def, and that is exactly the situation that occurs. Daps overreaching a little bit. Breezy does calibrate well, recovers. Spray down was good, but Shazam has rotated across to the ramp room. We'll find Breezy. NRG now in a position to suffer a loss against the Force by... This is a very, very strange map. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
I don't know about it just yet, though, because you still have Fugly controlling the vent position, and you can't really go down ramps at this stage. I mean, Fugly has so much opportunity to work around this position. Bomb plant does go down at that undersight as well. Stanislaw, thinking about how to drop in, has a flashbang to work with, but he's only 2 bullets away from death. Well, the rest of the CT is going to be coming in from Megaton, and Cirque gets dinked out for his troubles.
Cirque's not hitting too many shots with the AWP that you would expect him to hit of late. But stepping up in that last one. Fugly will get the kill on a Def. Does it buy enough time here? I'm not so sure that it does. Got so close, but yet so far for NRG.
Don't know if he's bought enough time or not. It is going to go down to the final second.
Oh. That's another one of those those touch and go rounds that NRG do lose. It's the 2nd time now that Complexity have come out on a last-second defuse. And you're just thinking, if you're NRG, if I would have just taken the peak a second later, we would have run that round. But in the heat of the moment, you've got to do what you got to do. Complexity do come out ahead, but their money is still absolutely cooked. NRG are aware of it, so it looks like it'll be a force buy through from NRG again, but a tactical pause before we get too far ahead of ourselves. I already saw 2 players invest in pistol and armor, though, so if 2 players invest, pretty much everyone has to. You've got to keep your money in line.
Or do you?
Well, that's the question, I suppose. Yeah, they've got a decent buy-through, actually, NRG.
Yeah, I mean, CZ was able to do a bulk of the work, and the pistol round that NRG were able to take back. Whereas for Complexity, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good, but they got Shazam on the AWP. That's all they need sometimes. And he's hitting shots at the moment. He is looking good hitting shots. That's what I was talking about. If you want to be setting up for an attack on Outers, you definitely need these smoke grenades. So there it is. A few smokes to try to get control of this Outers position. Also some mollies now onto the A-bomb site. Just to apply some pressure from the skyboxes. It's going to force Android off hut. It's a really strong position to be playing from the XM. We saw Magisk when Astralis put it to good use. NRG also gaining control of Secret as well.
Ooh. Well, nice shot from Ethan. 1 for 1. You'll take that right now if you're NRG. Not to mention Daps finding Yay. A B-bomb site looking a little bit worrisome right now for Complexity. Cirque, that's a great shot. Android drops. Stanislaw and Def quaking in their boots. It's been 1, 1, 1, 1 all these rounds. It looks like it will continue as NRG get the bomb down on the site. Player advantage, 2-player advantage in fact. Def is in a position to get a kill, but he's not going to properly check Daps. What a cheeky little corner to hide in. That's going to well and truly lock the round in the favor of NRG now and puts them up to 5, which is where they really want to be. Anything past this now is going to be a bonus.
Stanislaw on the prowl behind them, but I think they're not going to be found out. Ethan, I don't know if it'll go down to explosion or not, but Stanislaw coming forward. Oh, he's found the timing. He's going to mow them all down. A little bit of excitement. That's actually pretty big in terms of the economy, because look at NRG's money now.
Oh, it's not great, is it?
No.
But then again, neither is Complexity, so this wild ride continues.
Here's the thing, right? It doesn't allow NRG to keep the AWP as well as the 2 rifles forward. And that doesn't sound like a lot at the moment, but coming later on, it could be absolutely huge. Could be the deciding factor. Is it now? It's going to be an A-site stack, but NRG going to be flooding out full force as well. Cirque on the entry through HUD. Going to work out. Stanislaw, unfortunately, cannot put that M4 to great use. It's all down to Yay, the youngster on the team.
Oh, well, he doesn't have much HP left to work with. Crisis averted for NRG, as they do put 2 together. That'll force Complexity onto a full eco now.
I was going to argue with you and say that probably the standard score for Nuke these days has been 7 or 8 rounds recently from what I've seen from teams who really know how to execute and take this map control of the CT. It's not really the easiest map now to play as the CT side, in all honesty.
Fair, okay. Well, NRG are getting fairly close to that. And this is where you kind of get the sense that NRG are looking to just ramp up this first half now. It's been a bit backwards and forwards, 50-50 for, I'd say, the first 8 or so rounds. But in the last couple, NRG have well and truly taken control of things. They'll be doing that again here. Complexity still searching for that next buy, and even the next buy, it won't be amazing. Not much in this one for Complexity, just the pistols.
They'll at least have the AWP to work with, which is the most important thing. Because Ethan just going to be spraying them down. At least they have the AWP to work with in the hands of Shazam, who's been their performer alongside with Stanislaw. But you're right, because it's not the best in terms of utility to work with. They can't really counter what NRG are going to be throwing at them in terms of grenade-wise. And that's always a scary prospect on Nuke, when you don't have the smokes, when you don't have the incendiary grenades to try to push the T's off, to try to delay the T's a little bit more to get your rotations on point, then it's highly problematic.
Slow and steady this round from NRG, nothing over-aggressive. A little bit of utility utilised in toward the A-bomb site, but nothing too substantial. A lot for NRG still to work with.
Right, so that's how the doors are changed. Okay, that makes sense.
Bit wider.
Bit wider into lobby, but there's a little bit more of a cutout for Breezy to work with, and Shazam should be checking his corner, but just at the wrong time! Breezy, timing of a god.
Yeah. Well, again, it's just maybe not quite 100% comfortable with this new map. That little area could have played a part, who knows. Regardless, NRG are going to come out with the advantage, and like I said, it really feels like they're starting to ramp up this T side now. Complexity with 2 players left alive and very little hope to win the round. It'll again put Complexity back into a poor economic situation. And NRG looking very good right now on Nuke, on the T side.
I mean, it's what we expected, right? And if we take away those 2 rounds where we could probably say a couple of micro errors, look, at the end of the day, it's not the worst errors, so to speak. They could very much be up 9-2 at this stage, even 10-2. And that's a scary prospect.
Yeah, exactly. Because of how close those rounds for Complexity were, it always just sort of felt like NRG was a slight bit stronger. And that is starting to come to fruition now. You do it time and time again. The percentages do favor NRG. And eventually they're going to win one. And that will end up resulting in maybe even 2 or 3 based on how the buy works for Complexity. Yeah, he cannot find the timing to get himself a cheeky pick there. So now the question becomes for Complexity, what are we going to do? Eco this round out, just run with the 2 rifles.
A few pistols and see how you can get away with it. I think they might go for a double op in the next round. Depends how well the money is, but I feel like they need more ops to try to take opportunities. Pressure being applied by NRG at the moment. Depth, though, in a position to once again scuttle. It's out his take if he's in the right position to do so. Gonna have to get a big spray down, though. Multiple people coming his way. Damps, is he gonna check this angle is a real question. Depth not peeking out far enough just yet and trying to fade away just at the wrong time. Once again, just comes down to a moment of seconds, even milliseconds between these 2 sides. And NRG so far have been the fortunate favoring the bold or the fickle at this stage.
Well, not much for Sanasaur to do here apart from go down. 9-4 will go the way of NRG. And now, even if you do subscribe to that belief that 8 on the T side or 7 on the T side is kind of the par score now for Nuke, NRG have well and truly eclipsed that. And they look poised to even take more.
Complexity finally managed to get this buy round out and looking a lot better than the previous buy round, but they're running out of opportunities to work with. This has to be the moment where they turn things around. It looks like Complexity, they're just going straight out to the A-bomb site. They're able to make it work out quite nicely just as Complexity decides to put 2 over to the ramp room instead, but Daps cannot hold that pressure from the other side.
Much better looking round to start off with for Complexity, but still winnable here for NRG. Cirque gets dropped low. Great shot onto Def. Doesn't quite connect the second onto Yay. Just too much to do there for Cirque. And NRG will drop another round. 5 over to Complexity. Very, very close round, though. It means the buy might not be so perfect for Complexity. Let's see how much they can get. By the looks of things, it'll be okay. The only one lacking utility will be Def. They've got double AWP on the CT side, so it's a trade-off.
I think NRG might just go back to what was working for them, which is the secret control. As Cirque just gets picked through smoke. I think that was through smoke, either that or it was boosted up. Either way.
It's a kill.
Yeah.
Kill's a
Kill's a kill. Exactly.
Breezy losing the aim duel to Yay. Breezy's been pretty good for NRG so far to this point, but not able to crack it open this time for his side. Maybe 9 will be all that NRG will achieve here on the T side. Shazam with 3 in the round from the AWP, lines them up, knocks them down. And Fugly is on his own. So it most likely looks like we'll head to 9-6, which is still, I think, a pretty good T-half for NRG.
Definitely enough for Complexity to work with as well. They've been able to capitalize on the rounds that they needed to take, got lucky a few times. Definitely puts them at least in a fighting position coming into their own T side. Haven't seen exactly what strategies they have just yet. Had to see how it goes, but Fugly's been tagged down low, isolated from a lot of different angles. Shazam most likely will be able to clean up. There you have it. 4 kills for Shazam in that round. 9-6.
Is it enough for NRG? I think it is. But they did struggle against Ghost, so maybe there's some underlying issue for NRG that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be able to easily close this map out against Complexity. Like I said earlier, they've been having good placings really since we saw them at IEM Sydney. That wasn't necessarily a breakout performance, but I think it's where they sort of really started as a roster to kind of come onto that international scene a little bit. I mean, nothing's been amazing results for them past that, but they won IEM Shanghai. Admittedly, that was against weaker opposition. Did fairly well at ESL 1 New York. They kind of had a poor performance at Stockholm, but they were going up against Na'Vi pretty early on, so there is that kind of caveat as well. But I think this NRG team can be a force to be reckoned with, even on an international stage.
I think they already are a force to be reckoned with, as they're only going to get more experience and only going to get better from here. And you can say the same for Complexity as well, that some of the players are only going to get better and better from this point onwards. And it's always great to see these teams just keep growing as time goes by. I mean, we've seen NRG for a couple of seasons. We've seen Breezy, obviously, for a very long time now, because he's always been talked about as one of those outstanding talents for NRG, alongside with Cirque when he was first picked up. Can't really fault anything with that. And similarly for Complexity as well. I guess the redemption story of Stanislaw, to some extent. Shazam still being able to put in such great performances over all these years as well. And some of the younger talent on Ye and Android now also stepping up.
Yeah. Android has definitely been a player that I've been watching, I think probably since, what are we in, Season 8 now? So I don't know, maybe did he come in Season
4?
5? Or
Season 4 or Season 5, because yeah. I remember watching a lot of him during Season 6,
I can't remember what team he was on. Was it Splice?
No. He's always been on, as far as I know, he's always been on Complexity.
Oh, okay. Maybe it has been Complexity. But yeah, like he's been always an interesting prospect because he's had really good performances, but he's never kind of really managed to break out into a top team or anything like that.
See, I mean, I think as we have a bit of just before we get the match started, is that it's a false fallacy sometimes in terms of the NA scene compared to the AU scene, because Australia, it does feel like a lot of the time for the Oceanic scene is to break out, you need to be invited into Renegades or an international team like Ricky was for Rogue. But I think a lot of the time for the NA scene is that a lot of this endemic talent becomes good over time because they stick it out. And I don't think Android would have been good if you just put him in another team. Fast A-side set coming out.
Yeah, has not worked out too amazingly. Though a 1-for-1, I guess you'll take that as Complexity. Bomb to go down. Thought Cirque might be able to hold on a little more there, but he does in the end get dropped. And Complexity really coming into their own in this pistol. Android Def finding a killer piece. And it's on to Ethan and Fugly. Ethan will get a free one here onto Shazam. Didn't know what came for him. Ye also turns around at the wrong time, but Fugly still in a 2-on-1. I didn't catch if there was a kit available for NRG, but if there was, he's still not got much time left. And 2 players to find in 2 very different positions, trying to draw the peak with the defuse. This round is now unwinnable for Fugly. So that's all she wrote in that round for NRG. Complexity will start the T-half off with a pistol of their own.
Always good to be starting the T side of Nuke with the pistol victory. It does give you that economic boost very early on and a little bit of leeway to work with. But CZ's also coming out. Forspike coming out from NRG.
Fair enough. Pretty much what you would expect on the CT side when you don't win. Fugly, interestingly, the one with the scout to play toward outer. He will not be spotting too much just yet. The Complexity playing quite slow right now. They want to figure out what kind of a buy Complexity, what kind of buy rather NRG have got. Now they know that there is at least an investment of some pistols. What past that? As of yet unknown. Good smoke down though. That must have been recovered from the dead body. And it's going to force Complexity to go back around through outer. In the end, they do manage to negotiate that fairly well.
Yeah, they could just go through heaven instead. But Android, double tap coming out from Ethan. That's the AK actually hitting the ground. And Breezy using the 5-7 as well. Not the easiest actually connecting on that headshot. He's actually manipulated himself around. It's a numbers advantage right now, as well as positional advantage, you have to say, for NRG to be working with.
Yeah, and the bomb still isn't even down just yet for Complexity. Eventually, yeah, he does get it on the ground, but has that allowed enough time for NRG to get into good positions? Doesn't seem so, as Breezy will drop early on in the piece. Ethan with the AK has to be the catalyst here. Bit of damage done onto Fugly from that scout, but Ethan, I think he might have just played himself a little bit here. Drops down, gets on the bomb. He'll draw the peek from Ye, which will be the easy one to kill, but he still has to find Stanislaw, and he does it! Ethan clutching the round out for NRG, and Complexity, they will drop another pistol buy from NRG. And if you're going to win a map, you just cannot be doing that.
Just taking territory maybe a little bit too slowly. NRG, once again, managed to find the timings, just the slightest, briefest moment to peek in and get the kills when they need to. Once again, you can call it luck, but not easy to be landing some shots that we saw from Breezy as well as Ethan. As a result, at the end of the day, it means that Complexity, well, they'll be draining their bank accounts dry just to try to force up whatever buy they can. Got a lot of AKs as well as a scout to try to take this out of position off the CTs.
Big damage from the grenades of NRG, and Ethan in a perfect position here. Ye just comes jumping through, but Ethan says no thank you very much. No door-to-door salesman allowed here. We'll get another one before going down. It's a good favourable trade for NRG. Ada's Control, however, starts to rest with Complexity. What they can do with it, though, is the real question. I'm not sure that they will be able to do a whole lot. There's no utility at all. It's not a fun place to be when there's no smokes or flashbangs available. Ethan just holding the line here. Shazam, with just a scout, is not a huge threat. Although Ethan is down on 66 HP, so never mind that. In the end, it's Deft to find the frag. Some damage done. 3 versus 3 still. This grenade, don't think it'll be doing too much, and it won't.
Dap's in a critical position at the moment. I think he's the only defender right now. They'll be clearing out this angle, you'd be suspecting, but no, Shazam doesn't clear it close enough. Very difficult to be peeking. So many corners that you're scared of. And unfortunately, doesn't have the armor really to nullify the impact of the UMP. So at the end of the day, Daps, he's going to be rewarded with 3 kills of the UMP. That's a lot of cash in the CT pocket. Upgrades to the AK-47. Best case scenario for the CT, in all honesty. And Complexity, they're going to be on the full eco for this round. And this is NRG's turn to try to make the money work out in their favor.
Not looking too good for Complexity now. And this is just another slaughter. 12-7. Very, very quick. Complexity want nothing to do with that round. They just get it over and done with. Fair enough, I guess.
Quick round's a good round, as people would say. They didn't expect too much out of Glock, so they just went, we'll just see what we can achieve, along with... Now what we can achieve with the AK-47, should I say. As looks like Complexity trying to take this fast A-site control. It's worked out quite well in their favor for now, because it's all down to a 1 and 2. Fugly, thinking about where he wants to rotate in from. Is also thinking potentially Complexity went unders. Might have heard something that gave it away, and it is actually the unders take at the end of the day.
Fugly with the 1v2. Bomb does go down, looking to clutch another round out here for NRG, and that would be the final nail in the coffin for Complexity if it were the case, but in the end, Complexity do close the round out. Stanislaw just getting around the side of Fugly there. Fairly easy done for him. Still money though for NRG. They've had a very good CT side so far. They will repurchase. Cirque again has got the AWP. A lot of utility still.
Now potentially stacking up for this ramp side take. Fugly has spotted, I think, a glimpse of a T, but he needs to be cautious. There is an army at the moment, and he's going to fall back to elbow instead. Not going to give the opportunity for Complexity to get early pick off and allow them to get away with it. As Stanislaw picks off Cirque at the edge of the corner at the same time. That's a big crucial pick off. That leaves Outers as well as Secret open. That AWP is now lost as well.
Stanislaw does drop. Brings it back to a 4v4. Bombs to go down here on the B bomb side. So this is looking fairly reasonable for Complexity.
Yeah, they're able to already shut down some of the rotators as well. Getting this position off the CT is going to make their job more difficult. And I think NRG, they just have to call for a save. They didn't realize Complexity already made their way down ramp, down into Secret, oh, not, sorry, down into Secret, but down into the B bomb site so rapidly like that. And at the end of the day, Complexity now having a good crack, resetting the CT side, even with the 3 rifles being saved over. So there you have it, Complexity. 1 round closer to bringing it into double digits. And for NRG, they're going to have to be suffering on the eco train for a little bit, which is never fun.
Another buy round for NRG, of course. Saving those 3 guns through does allow them that luxury, but every single round these buys get worse and worse and worse, and Complexity starts to claw rounds back. Sooner or later, that economy is going to break.
Didn't realize I actually had enough money for AWPs. Pretty surprising at this stage, but don't know if Complexity are actually expecting another AWP. Looks like, though, they're going to be taking Secret control on the back of the smoke grenades. So at least getting, I mean, all 5 of them committing down Secret. Going to be making that slow contact walk play. Only Dap so far at the unders position. He's going to be smoking off that Secret area, suspecting that something might be going on right now, but he's only got a UMP. That's not the firepower that he wants at this particular point in time. Everything else is silent across the map. Now Def going to be trying to explode, clearing out Vent, but Fugly going to be picking his head up, and he's going to get 3 down. Daps is going to lose that decon area, and Stanislaw has been finding the better of, or being the better mark compared to Cirque.
Stanislaw still trying to hang on here for Complexity. Fugly went huge, but the round is not over just yet, and Shazam's in a good spot here. Almost thought that he could spray down the 2, but only 1, and that's good enough for NRG. Now they just need to trade out effectively against Stanislaw. He looks toward Decon, doesn't see anybody. Fugly doesn't check him. The trade is there, though, from Breezy. And 13 is going to come up for NRG. Again, another very expensive round. But a round nonetheless. Complexity still in with a chance of resetting that NRG economy, though.
Didn't realize this, but Ethan's on 26 kills. My goodness. I didn't even realize when Ethan got 26 kills. But Complexity, going straight back at it. Android, though, only with the Desert Eagle, doesn't have the cash really to buy up into this. And as you're saying, Jordan, the CT economy isn't the greatest just at this moment. There's still an opportunity right now for Complexity to really step back into it and try to trade these rounds out.
Android with just the Deagle. Still winnable, though, for Complexity. it's kind of getting to the point now where it's a must-win for Complexity. We've said that a couple of times so far today, and Complexity haven't really delivered in those really critical rounds. Renegade's able to get the 2-0 over them earlier, and now NRG looking to get at least this first map. Complexity creeping on up through outer. Fair bit of map control for the T's right now, but they're not doing a whole lot with it.
I wonder if Ethan is spotting this out at the moment. He is playing from, I think, near heaven or at hell at this stage, but they might be able to collapse onto this ramp position. Ethan, 1-for-1, might not be good enough at this stage because there are a lot more T's going to be coming over into that A site. And Cirque, suspecting of what's going to go on, but yeah, he's going to be here. 1-for-1s all across the board. Still going to be a 2-on-2. And at the end of the day, Stanislaw, he can't get the bomb plant down. Can't be the difference in this round, and that means that NRG, I think they managed to finally find the straw that broke the camel's back, so to say.
Yeah, that does feel like the round that is going to break Complexity here on Nuke. They've kind of been hanging in it up until this point, but 14-9 with a pistol armor buy here for Complexity. I think it's too much to come back from. They'll need a miracle in this round. Has to come from someone, anyone. Any of these 5 players can do it.
Stanislaw just fast down to his secret by himself already. He's lightning quick. The rest of the players going to be going in through ramps. So going to be posted from elbow on the corner.
Well, it's not a particularly scary angle here for Cirque. He is just going to be able to fall back, take another peek. Easy as you like, finds 2 kills. The openers for NRG, a third. Not quite going to present itself. Def down to 1. Android at 40. Still a lot of damage done there by NRG early on in the round, particularly from Cirque. Complexity now relying on Def and Android to somehow scrape them through this round. Otherwise, it's going to be map point up for NRG.
And that nade just ruined Depth. It was just already too low. And Android, so many angles you need to check. Can't check them all. And he's going to catch a bullet in his head for his troubles. So that means that Complexity, they're going to be staring down 6 match points for now. And NRG, you got to say, though, they've mainly been in control so far of this game. Slowly, finally able to close away. Whereas for Complexity, a nice try, but as you were saying earlier, NRG just too strong. Looks like it's all going to boil down to the A bomb site hit. The CZ so far doing the damage that's needed. They've taken a lot from the HE nades, from the incendiary grenades, but Complexity, they hold in for another day.
Cannot believe it. They had to do it, and they have done it. So one more round going to be ticking up here for Complexity. That's actually going to do a number to the economy of NRG as well. Cirque would like to keep the AWP through here. Complexity, all right.
Nice.
I don't know how hard they are going to be hunting for him here. Does look like they're having a bit of a peek around, but no one's found him yet. And it doesn't look like anyone will find him.
Don't think they wanted to hunt too hard as well. They wanted to keep all whatever they had in their pockets for the next round. But for NRG, some of them buying some armor and pistol. Not enough money to really get these rifles out, so maybe an HE nade and a few more pistols going around as well for the rest of the players at NRG.
Take it easy for a couple of rounds here, NRG, and then get that full buy through. That's the strategy, that's the plan. But if Cirque can make some wonders happen here on outer, could still be a winnable round for NRG. There's no AWP available for Complexity, so Cirque does have not necessarily free reign, but freer reign. In the end, it doesn't look like he is going to be able to strike early. Smoke grenade in. HE nade just to break the door. Complexity grouping up toward lobby once again.
Got plenty of time. Don't need to rush anything, but They don't really have this out of control on either side, whereas Fugly is now going to be torched. Able to transition quite safely, but Android, he's on the hunt, he's on the lead charge right now, and the rest of the players in Complexity now collapsing on the A-bomb site, and they're going to get all the kills. Only dropping one, which is completely fine. They can drop him for the next round. NRG, they will buy into this.
Well, gun round through for NRG, this time though without an AWP. They still have time if they lose this for another couple of good ecos. Ethan just gets absolutely smashed in the face. A great flashbang out from Complexity means that he's running around in no man's land. An easy kill for the T side. Stanislaw getting up on Silo will also figure out where Cirque is hiding. That's doing his best with the FAMAS and actually gets a headshot across onto Android as well. That makes this doable now for NRG, particularly with this push from Breezy. Can he see Stanislaw? He certainly spots the shadow, but he still can't get the kill. Stanislaw so sharp, gets the required headshot. And Complexity, they get away with one. It was close. So very low HP, all those 3 remaining players for Complexity, but a round on the board nonetheless, and that's what they need at the moment.
Technical pause coming out. I thought it might have been a tactical pause coming out from NRG, because this is suddenly looking a lot perilous in terms of everything. It could definitely be a scenario where Complexity, there's one more eco, one more buy round, and then, oh, there's not much to work with for NRG if they lose the next buy round.
Yeah, so technical pause coming out, guys. I'm told Ethan is resetting his PC. But NRG still searching for that final round. 16 would be lovely. You got to remember, the last time they played this map was 16-4 in the favor of NRG, so it's been a far cry from that. Certainly a better performance from Complexity, but how far can they actually push it? Are they going to be able to do a Renegades, come back from an unholy deficit? And they're on the T side as well. You don't expect them to be able to do that. But they're doing a good job of controlling the NRG economy, keeping these rounds interesting, giving themselves a chance. They did already get 1 point on the board today, getting that overtime against Renegades. So it's not all lost so far today for Complexity, but they would love another one, or maybe even more. A map win here, put them up to 3. Still not a fantastic start given they've dropped 2 maps, but want to claw their way back into it. NRG, on the other hand, well, they didn't get to any overtime, so they haven't got anything on the board just yet. Pretty important map for them, given that it is their map choice.
I mean, look on the bright side, at least they've secured 1 point now, right? That's the worst case scenario for them. They've secured 1 point, but for Complexity, 3 more rounds is the difference between overtime or potential overtime. Maybe a heartbreaking defeat in regulation, or maybe we'll just see the end very, very soon. But looks like Complexity ramping up the tempo for now. They're just going fast. Just take the aim deals, and they're going to win just by taking the aim deals. Just like that. 20 seconds into the round, they're already into the B-bomb site.
Yeah, well, they already know that NRG don't really have too much money to play with there, so they don't need to get too concerned about dealing with any of those NRG guns. Daps has got himself the MAC-10, and will actually find a kill here. That's nice. AK in his hands now. If he can take that through to the next round, will help NRG out a little bit. AK is always nice as well. Even that, like, the last gun round, you could almost say, like, maybe NRG would have won that if they had an AK. Because the headshot came across, I can't remember who it was holding the line, but Stanislaw got the kill. Breezy has an AK there. He got the first shot off. He got the headshot onto Stanislaw with the M4. Imagine how different that round could have been.
100%. But at the end of the day, that's why we don't have one-shot M4s to the head. Because then this game would be broken. It'd be way too CT-sided.
Yeah, well. NRG will buy through once again here. Daps can drop the AWP if he wants. Or if Cirque wants, I suppose. It will go into Cirque's hands.
Wait, so did Daps actually just drop an AK for... No.
He dropped an AK and threw the AWP over to Cirque. He'll pick his own AK back up. Doesn't have too much utility, but that's the price you pay for being a good teammate. Complexity, again, with some smokes towards outer. Not going to be using them to cross this time.
Just want to force NRG to be using their utility, which is the aim of the game, because they've been going so quickly on the back of these smokes before. NRG have probably started rotating a few more members into these critical positions and left another part a little bit more exposed, which is going to be ramps. But Cirque is going to be trained on the angle, and he is going to make sure that at least a call-out's going to go through. They don't have ramp control, but they've got the numbers advantage.
That's something that they have been lacking in the later stages of this map quite a lot. Most of the time, the opening kill has gone to Complexity. NRG have been sort of challenging on outer, but Complexity have always been ready for them. And this time, not the case. So is this the round where NRG finally close the map out? It's been a while. It's always felt like... But there it is. All in the flash. NRG will close the map out. And yeah, like I said, it felt like NRG was always going to close that map out. It was just a case of how long it was going to take. Complexity were staging a good comeback, but there was just such an advantage for NRG that they had to play with. They had multiple gun rounds and save rounds that they could have used if they needed. Even if they lose that, they've still got another opportunity to go after there. So look, NRG finally do close it out. It's a good map win on the board for them. Doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as it's not in overtime. You still don't lose any more points based on that. I guess round differential could play in later on down the track, but all in all, you want to get those points on the board. NRG now have their first win.
I mean, for Complexity, you got to really think once again. I'm a bit of a negative person today, to be honest. But you always, at the end of the day, always go back to the rounds that you go, all right, we had rifles, they had pistols, we dropped 2 of them. And that was, it could have been the difference. I don't want to harp on it too much, obviously, because every single round we had some impact plays for NRG where it could have been a very much an 11-4 CT half, maybe even a 13-2, depending on the momentum. But 2 clutches go in the favor of Complexity, so NRG go down early, but they had that solid CT start, and as a result, they were able to, sorry, for NRG, they had that solid T start, they got ahead to that 15-round mark very early on, so they had a few more rounds to play around with, but you just got to say, though, you always got to be thinking about the what-ifs.
I'm sure as a player, that will be what they'll be thinking about as well. And then again, you go back to a lot of the rounds earlier in the first half, and NRG did lose a couple of 50-50s that could have been very, very close. So, you know, who knows if it would have even necessarily gotten this close. I think both sides had equal amounts of, not necessarily luck, I suppose, but, you know, those kinds of rounds went equally 50-50. So I can't really knock on NRG or anything like that too badly. All in all, I think it was a pretty good match to watch. I mean, Complexity now 0-3. So they're looking to their next map of Cage to really have a good impact. Because if you go down 0-4, like we said, it's not the end of the world here in NA Pro League, particularly given it is the first week. But it's definitely not an ideal start, especially when you're one of the teams that's kind of looking good at the moment, but who knows how long that form is going to last, or you know, maybe some of the other teams are not looking so good at the moment. You want to capitalize on things. Certainly the guys on Complexity haven't been able to do that yet. There's a long road ahead here in NA Pro League.
I mean, to be fair, not two of the easiest opponents to be going up against, but you're going against Renegades. There's not much really to go in terms of the analysis. So Stanislaw, what I mean by that is that you can't really go into depths in countering strats just yet. So a lot of the time, Complexity had to come in and had to have just a on-the-fly read of the situation, which doesn't work out for them, obviously. And going against NRG, look, you're going on Nuke, and I don't think Nuke Complexity map.
No, you don't. And you definitely do think about that for NRG. But I tell you what, Complexity are going to have to be the best that they can be here on this next map. Just like MSI, you can be the best that you can be, Kevin, if you grab some MSI products. I'm certainly the best version of myself when I use my 1070 at home. Generally speaking, though, I'm not a great player in most games. So never mind, we'll just shove that on.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I don't blame the graphics card most of the time. I just blame the player. There are often times I just jump into a game of like BF1, for example, and I'm like, oh yeah, nice. My FPS is at 70 frames. I've only got an 80 kills and 25 deaths, but that's all right. I don't blame the graphics card.
Yeah, hate the player.
But get a good graphics card.
Yeah, definitely a good graphics card is a good idea. Anyway, yeah, I mean, for Complexity, map 2 here for today is going to be a pretty important one for them. It would be their first map win here in the ESL Pro League North America. But we're going to head to a break. Keish is coming up next, so don't go anywhere.